south, we have WizeCrax.
And his opponent up here in the top spawn is our red Terran player from, when I say, it is Seryph.
I believe the clan is one step ahead. Is the one
I think you're right. That certainly is a clan that I've heard of. I didn't recognize the icon, but maybe it's new. Pretty cool. Cool little clan.
Now, one thing, Trigonal, you stepped away during the little bit of a loading screen, but one thing that Saber and myself discussed rather quickly was the fact that you referenced it beforehand, but WizeCrax is currently rocking a Gold League border, and Seryph is presently sitting in Masters League. Now,
small discrepancy.
Yeah, there has been some problems with league distribution in the last, particularly this season, but in the last, 6 months or so. So maybe that discrepancy won't be as big as it sounds, but that sounds like a ridiculous difference between these players.
Yeah, I mean, if that is all correct, then WizeCrax will not really stand a chance. However, as you said, the leagues have been a bit weird. If WizeCrax is just a little out of practice, like he hasn't played 25 games this season, which is fairly, that's certainly possible, or at least if he hasn't played 25 games on this server, on this account, then it'll just be like whatever the system decide to place him in, and placements are not really too representative of skill. So, I don't know, there's definitely a possibility that WizeCrax is still playing at Diamond or Low Master skill level, and we're going to see a decent game. But for now, Seryph just moved across the map with his first Reaper.
He is. He's going to be able to spot that triple hatch before pool rather soon. Or rather, he'll be hopping up here, and he should see the pool is not actually completed. And he'll be like, all right, something fishy is going on. WizeCrax may end up losing at least one drone. Does go down right there. The pool still has not been spotted, although he can assume, I'm guessing from the fact that there are no lings, that the pool is indeed late.
Yeah, a fairly decent opportunity for damage here for Seryph to start getting some done. I think he can just tell it's 3 hatch for a pool just because the hatchery down in the low ground wasn't particularly high up on health, as if it would have been if WizeCrax had taken out the first base. And Seryph is just getting so many kills there. 5 kills on the one Reaper, the one that's just come in. It's got a kill of its own, I think, now. Yeah, so 6 drone kills has more than offset the economic benefit of going hatch first. Or 3 hatch for a pool, rather.
21 SCVs to 13 drones, and of course, these 2 Reapers are still around to potentially do some more damage. With the amount of lings that were pumped out, WizeCrax should be safe, but we do have a 3rd Reaper now in the mix.
Yeah, and that starts to get really threatening, even towards the queens, which of course, I mean, late pool means late queens. So the queen count for WizeCrax, where in normal game it would be around like 4 or so by now, maybe even getting out to 6 if he was getting really hard on the queens. He's just now gotten 2 out, 3 out, just the 2 out, and not really a match for these Reapers, especially with the slow lings as they are.
Yeah, once you get that 3rd Reaper, it's the tipping point against a single queen, and as long as you're on top of your control, and again, controlling Reapers is not the hardest thing in StarCraft to do, so as long as you're on top of that control, you won't lose a Reaper versus the queen. However, ling's almost going to be getting us around again. Another drone did end up going down there. Just a silly amount of drones. 8 thus far have gone down.
Yeah, WizeCrax not looking too good at all. Seryph across the map, getting his 3rd command center, responding to greed with greed very nicely. His barracks going up as well. He knows there's nothing WizeCrax can do against him, because WizeCrax's attention is purely focused at home, defending against these Reapers, which have been the bane of his life up until this point, and it's only going to get worse with these Hellions coming in.
I would have liked to see Seryph maybe move over to the 3rd a little bit sooner. He could have picked off that queen. However, with these Hellions, he will have an even better opportunity to pick off the queen. A little bit more DPS as the 1st Reaper gets microed away nicely. Zergling's going to be coming in, trying to go for a surround, but of course, with only a couple of lings, it's going to be difficult to actually get any kills.
Yeah, very tough indeed, especially with these 2 Hellions adding their splash damage to the mix. Another queen finds itself a little bit out of position, and will be going into the grave pretty shortly to meet the 2 other queens, I think, that have died this game. Total of 3. Some more lings from WizeCrax come out. He does manage to scare off one of the Hellions. I think he took that out, but I mean, that's the first unit that Seryph has lost this game. 1 Hellion for 11 drones, 13 lings, and 3 queens is, most Terran players would agree, a pretty good trade.
A pretty good trade indeed. I mean, just looking at the resources lost tab, 100 resources to 1,500 from the Zerg player, and that's, of course, not counting the lost mining time or the deficit of going for that 3 hatch before pool and not really gaining anything from it. Finally, no... Wow. I was about to say, finally, the Zerg is able to do some damage, but still that single Hellion is the only thing Seryph has lost.
That's incredible micro here. Seryph nearly getting trapped up against that wall, but just edging his way out very, very nicely. WizeCrax just waves and waves of lings, breaking against these Hellions. The second Hellion is going to fall, but again, this is fantastic trading from Seryph. Now he's left completely uncontested in the drone line. GG, says WizeCrax. Game 1's going to go to Seryph. Hello everyone and welcome back to Inferno Pools, as was prophesied, and up here in the top left hand corner, currently down 1-0, is our peak Zerg player playing oh so greedy in the first game. Let's see what he'll do here in the second. It is WizeCrax.
And in the south, presently leading the series in a very commanding way, our red Terran player from One Step Ahead Gaming, this is Seryph.
Very nice. No CC first from Seryph is his first decision, which, I mean, it's fine. You don't have to go CC first, but if you're going to, it would be probably on a map like Inferno Pools or Iron Fortress or Cactus Valley, one of the big Force-1 maps. And WizeCrax will be starting off with a hatch first, which is perfectly normal. It'll just kind of depend what he does after this, whether he goes for a 16 pool or another hatchery somewhere around that time.
Exactly. We'll see how those openers shape up. For now, it looks like, well, no, he's actually going to be throwing down a gas and keeping it. It's not for some sort of silly extractor trick. It would be a bit early, but we do have, kind of more interestingly, the gas, and there's the Reaper just now going to be starting. So once again, Reapers coming out from Seryph. He had a lot of success with these in the previous game, and of course, with these spawn locations. He's got a nice into the Zerg base over by that third.
Yeah, and this is the natural kind of way to send your Reaper as well, because if they are there, you're going to get there very, very quickly, and you're just going to be able to do quite a bit of damage, because, again, Inferno Pools, despite it being a big macro map, rush distances in some locations are actually quite short. So for Reapers here, it's actually quite a short rush distance thing. Just hop down that cliff, up this one, and up this one into the main. But yeah, we'll see. It is being sent that way, but going the long way around, checking the natural first. And WizeCrax has gone for much faster pool this game, so I don't expect him to take as much damage from the Reaper, but it will arrive in his base unluckily fast, I would say, for a Force-1 map. So he's probably still going to take at least some damage on the drone, have to force out a couple extractors or spore crawlers to be built and cancelled.
We'll keep an eye on how good of the control WizeCrax actually has. He's going to be starting his Baneling nest before actually getting any Zerglings. So there's going to be the first Spore Crawler getting thrown down. And again, his first 2 lings are only just now on the way. The Queen is going to be popping out relatively soon, which should be enough to chase this Reaper away. The first kill does indeed happen. 1 drone down, and WizeCrax doing a reasonable job, although he runs that weather drone right back almost into the jaws of that Reaper.
Yeah, the Reaper will find a third drone on its way out. There's another one of its friends for it to meet up with up the bottom here, but he scouted the Baneling nest, which I feel is very important. 10 lings on the way, along with speed, finishing up very, very shortly. And WizeCrax, he's taking some losses at here, but in a second, it's going to be him across the map trying to deal some damage to Seryph, trying to, force him to be the one who's actually feeling a little bit worried about his stake in this game.
As you mentioned, speed on the way in a much faster fashion. And so he's going to have those speedlings. I don't even know if he got speedlings in the previous game. He was so scrambled just trying to mount any sort of defense that I don't know that he ever actually got speed. In this case, as you mentioned, he's going to be heading out across the map. He's going to be looking to do that bit of damage, and potentially he will find it. If Seryph is not paying attention, these depots will still be down at the front, and the lings can flood into the main base. But nope. He raises them in time, and now the Banelings are starting to morph.
Yeah, Seryph is making a nice sort of double wall as much as he can here, though. There is this weak spot on the other side of the factory, on the bottom side, where WizeCrax can still bust through, but now, I mean, Seryph knows exactly what's going on. He's just kind of responding in a very careful, measured fashion to it. He's barely actually differing from a normal build at all, except where he's building the units. And these Banes are going to move up the ramp here. One of them actually gets taken down, which means there's not enough to take down the supply depot. So the Lings smashing away at that actually all get cleaned up by the Hellions as well. That supply depot will fall. WizeCrax has to wait until his next round of Lings come in. And by that time, there's already another supply depot going down. WizeCrax is going to have to wail away at that for a little bit, all the while taking fire from these Hellions.
That, yeah, a bit of a mess up, a bit of a fudge. That was not the most well-executed Baneling bust I have ever seen in my life. WizeCrax, unfortunately, in a game where he couldn't really afford to make too many mistakes, has made a pretty big blunder. It's going to make the remainder of this game that much more difficult. A lot of these Lings are extremely low on HP. A couple of more blasts from these Hellions will clean up the majority of them. And now, once again, Seryph is in a safe position. Nothing on the production tab for WizeCrax. He's going to be trying to make up for it with a hatchery at the gold and roaches, which is something that could work. I mean, that gold income will boost the potential roach attack.
Yeah, it'll help out, but I don't think Seryph is going to wait around for that to happen. We've got an armory about to finish up here. When it comes in, these Hellions can all morph into Hellbats, charge straight up this ramp, and WizeCrax has so little to answer them. 2 queens is just not enough. Here comes the Hellbat morph. They're going to move forward. This queen blunders straight into the waiting fire arms of death, and the second one, I fear, is soon to follow. WizeCrax going to run as best he can, but Hellbats are just going to begin a slow, inevitable march of death up the ramp.
When you start out an engagement like this, already down 10 workers, losing an additional 7 or 8 is even more painful, as this is certainly a situation where Seryph is running away with this. This is already up 1-0. There's the 2-0. GG gets called, and Seryph takes our first series very nicely.